I spent 9 years loving a man who said he'd marry me when the time is right. Last week, I found his wedding registry, with another woman. When I confronted him, he said, "You were just a habit I couldn't break." I left without a word. But at his rehearsal dinner, when the waitstaff brought out dessert, he finally realized what I had done. I'm 37, and I wasted 9 years on a man who never planned to marry me. My name is Dana. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and until a few weeks ago, I was with a man named Matt Grayson. I gave him almost a decade of my life. And he gave me lies, empty promises, and the worst kind of betrayal. We met when I was 28. My friend Ashley invited me to a backyard barbecue in Durham. Matt was there, laughing with some guys around the grill. He had this quiet charm. Not the loud, center of attention guy, the one who waits, watches, then says something funny that lands perfectly. He looked like he had it all together. Short brown hair, fitted jeans, nice arms, and a soft southern drawl that made you feel safe. He was flipping houses with his brother back then. I was a third-grade teacher. We got to talking that day, and he asked for my number before I left. We had our first date 2 nights later. After that, it was constant. Every free hour we had, we spent it together. 6 months in, I told him I was falling for him. He said, "Good." I was already there. I thought I'd found my person. Year 1 turned into year 2. Then 3. Then 5. At first, the talks about marriage were fun, daydreamy stuff, like where we'd want the wedding or what kind of house we'd live in. But when I started asking about actual timelines, things got vague. When the time is right, he'd say. Once things settle down with work. I'm not ready yet, but I will be. Always, not yet. Never no, but never, yes. I let it go for a while. I told myself he loved me, and that was enough. I kept believing we were building towards something real. I took care of him when he got sick. I helped his dad get into a rehab facility. I was with him through the death of his mom. I sat with him at the hospital every day until she passed. I held him through every loss, every failure. When my lease was up in my tiny apartment in Apex, I moved into his condo in Raleigh. I offered to split costs. He said no, he wanted to take care of me. But somehow, I still became the maid. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, groceries. I even helped him with his real estate listings. All for free. I gave him everything. And he kept saying, soon. I stopped pushing. It felt pathetic to beg someone to want me. Then last week, I was helping Ashley with her wedding registry. She's getting married in September and isn't very tech-savvy, so I told her to send me the Target link and I'd guide her through it. I went to the main registry search page, typed in her name, and saw another registry right underneath. Matthew Grayson and Chloe Simmons wedding date, June 8th location, Chapel Hill. At first, I thought, no, it's another Matt Grayson. It has to be. But I clicked. And there it was. Dinnerware I'd picked out with him years ago. A mixer he said was too expensive. Bath towels in his favorite color. His taste, all over it. My hands were shaking. I scrolled fast, like the faster I moved the less real it would feel. But it was real. The gifts had been claimed by guests. Their names were on the "who bought what" list. I just sat there. Everything went quiet in my head. My body felt hollow. Then I went to the bathroom and threw up. When I calmed down, I texted him, "Do you know someone named Chloe Simmons?" His reply came fast, "Can we talk in person?" I said sure. He showed up that night like nothing was wrong. Walked in, kissed my cheek, and sat down. I didn't even speak. I turned my laptop screen toward him and clicked the registry. He looked. Read it. Then he looked up at me and said, "Dana, you were just a habit I couldn't break." That's all. 9 years. That's what I meant to him, a bad habit. I didn't say a word. I just stood up, grabbed my bag from the closet, and walked out. I stayed at my cousin Melanie's place in Apex for the week. I didn't tell anyone but Ashley. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Something snapped inside me, but not the way you'd think. It wasn't heartbreak. It was pure, white-hot clarity. This man owed me years. He took my love, my time, my trust, and gave it all to someone else without even telling me. I wanted him to feel what I felt. Not just lose Chloe. Not just get exposed. I wanted him humiliated, confused, and small. The way I'd felt when he looked me in the face and said I was just a habit. Then I remembered Claire. Claire used to be my roommate after college. She now runs a boutique catering business in Chapel Hill. High-end, very exclusive. We were close years ago, but we drifted. I called her. Told her the whole story. She said, "You're joking. I just got hired to cater that wedding." Chloe Simmons. Her dad's some real estate guy who knows my aunt. I told her my plan. Claire listened. Then she laughed for a solid minute. Then she said, "Say no more. You're in." We planned every detail. Matt would never expect me there. I hadn't posted anything on social media in weeks. He didn't even know Claire and I were still in touch. So on June 7th, the night of the rehearsal dinner, I showed up at the Simmons estate in black slacks, buttoned down, hair tied up, and a catering apron. Nobody blinked. Just another staff member. He was too busy schmoozing with Chloe's dad to notice me at first. The place was beautiful. Classy. Exactly the kind of wedding I thought I'd have with him one day. I kept to the kitchen, then helped with drinks and hors d'oeuvres. I watched from the shadows as Chloe giggled with her bridesmaids and Matt played the charming fiancé in a pressed navy suit. He looked proud. So sure of himself. He had no idea. I waited for dessert. That was the moment we'd planned for. Claire and I had worked with a local baker we trusted. Each mini cake had a printed fondant topper. Tiny, elegant, but readable. They looked like innocent decorations, until you read them. Messages like, "You were just a habit, 9 years. No ring. Stolen ring. Stolen life. Ask him about Dana." Each one was real. Each one was true. When they wheeled out the silver dessert tray, guests leaned in, excited. Pictures were taken. Everyone laughing. Then it started. One woman read hers out loud. "You were just a habit?" She looked confused. Someone else read theirs. "Ask him about Dana?" The mood shifted. It spread like fire. Matt's best man leaned in and read 3 of them. His face changed. He grabbed another, then another. Then Matt saw one. "Read it." He looked up, panicked. That's when he saw me. I stepped out from the kitchen, still in my staff clothes. Holding a serving tray. Calm. Steady. Our eyes locked. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then Chloe picked one up. It said, "He proposed with her ring." And that's when the screaming started. The moment Chloe read that cake topper, "He proposed with her ring," her face froze. You could see it hit her all at once. The shock, the confusion, and then the horror. She turned toward Matt like she didn't even know who he was. "What does this mean?" she asked, her voice shaking. Matt didn't answer. He was still staring at me, like seeing me there broke his brain. Guests started whispering, pulling out their phones, reading every dessert topper like clues in a mystery game. A few had already figured it out. Some were asking questions out loud now. Who's Dana? Is this a joke? Then Chloe's dad stood up. Matthew, he said, loud and firm, what the hell is going on? That's when Matt snapped out of it. He stormed toward me, fists clenched. What the hell are you doing here? I didn't flinch. Serving dessert. Are you insane? He hissed, low, trying not to draw more attention. This is harassment. You think this is funny? I looked right at him. You used me. Lied for 9 years. Proposed with a ring I wore for 2. You don't get to act like the victim. He grabbed my wrist. Hard. Too hard. That was his mistake. Claire's head chef, Jordan, a huge guy, former Marine, built like a fridge, saw it happen. He stepped between us fast. Hands off my staff, he said, his voice calm but threatening. Let her go. Matt backed off, but he was seething. You ruined everything. I shook my head. No. You did that. I just made sure everyone saw it. More whispers now. Chloe was still standing there, stunned. Her sister was crying. Her mother was staring at the mini cake in her hand like it had turned to ash. Then came the real twist. Claire walked up to the head table with a small silver box. I was asked to deliver this, she said, smiling sweetly. From Dana. Matt's eyes widened. It was a flash drive. Claire clicked it into a laptop connected to the projector. The one they'd planned to use for their engagement slideshow. She clicked play. And there it was. A folder. Labeled. Time Matt didn't want to talk about. Inside were dated photos, videos, and screenshots. Years of texts from me and Matt. Pictures from holidays. A photo of me wearing that ring, dated 2 years before they met. A video of us at the beach, where he said, loud and clear, I'm gonna marry you, Dana. I swear. Claire didn't narrate. She let it run. It lasted only 3 minutes, but it felt like an hour. Nobody moved. Matt's face was red, then white, then something close to gray. Chloe looked like she might throw up. When it ended, I walked out the front door without a word. I left the catering apron on the table. The last thing I heard was Chloe's dad yelling Matt's full name. Loud. Furious. Back at Claire's van, I sat in the passenger seat and stared out the window. My hands were shaking, finally. Not from fear. From release. Like something that had been rotting inside me for years had finally spilled out. Claire didn't say much. She just handed me a cold water bottle and said, that was better than reality TV. I smiled, but it didn't feel like revenge yet. Not completely. I wanted to walk away with peace, not just chaos. But then, the next day, I got a text from a number I didn't know. It was Chloe. Can I call you? I need to know the truth. I stared at the text from Chloe for a long time. Can I call you? I need to know the truth. I didn't reply right away. I didn't trust her. Not because she'd done anything wrong, but because she chose him. She planned a wedding with him. She slept next to him while I was home wondering why my future kept getting pushed back. But then I thought about it again. If I were in her shoes, about to marry a man who was lying to me every day, I'd want someone to tell me the truth, too. So I texted back, 5 minutes. Don't waste it. She called. Her voice sounded rough, like she'd been crying for hours. Dana, she said, I had no idea. I swear to God. I didn't even know you existed. I didn't say anything. I let the silence work. Then she started talking. And what she told me made everything worse. Apparently, Matt told her he'd been in a short relationship with a woman named Danielle, not Dana, years ago, but it ended bad and he cut ties. She never saw pictures of me. He told her he lost the ring in a break-in. And yes, he used that same ring to propose to her. I feel sick, she said. My dad is threatening to press charges. My mom can't even look at me. Everyone keeps calling it the most embarrassing wedding cancellation they've ever seen. I stayed quiet again. Then she asked, How long was he with you? 9 years, I said. He asked me to move in 6 years ago. I've worn that ring. I have videos of him talking about kids. I heard her suck in a breath like someone punched her in the gut. Then she whispered, "Oh my God. I think he was still sleeping with you when we started dating." I didn't want to confirm it, but I knew it was true. There were weeks he said he was traveling for work. Turns out, he was spending time with her in Chapel Hill. Then she said something I didn't expect. "Do you want to ruin him completely?" I sat up. "What do you mean?" She said, "I think he's hiding money. From me. From you. From the IRS, probably. My dad's accountant flagged something weird about a house sale last month. It was sold through a shell company. I confronted Matt, and he blew up. Started accusing me of spying on him. That tracked. Matt always hated questions about money. He'd say stuff like, "Don't worry about it, I've got it covered." And I believed him because I was too focused on us to look deeper. I found 2 more shell LLCs under his name, Chloe continued. I think he's been moving money to keep it away from the IRS and anyone he's ever screwed over. It hit me all at once. The reason he never married me wasn't just emotional. It was practical. If we were married, I could have had a legal claim on those assets. If he married Chloe, a woman with a rich father, maybe he thought he could blend his shady dealings into her world without anyone noticing. He never loved either of us. We were assets. I said, "You still want revenge?" She said, "More than I want air." The next day, we met in person. Neutral ground. A Panera in Cary. She was thinner than her photos made her look. Shaky. Barefaced. She looked exhausted. She brought a folder. Bank transfers. Property records. A few fake names tied to LLCs. Her dad had helped her dig. She said, "I can't go to the police yet. I need more. But I thought maybe you could find something in your stuff. Old mail. Contracts. Anything with his name on it." I thought back to his condo. I still had a set of keys. He never asked for them back. That night, I went in. I waited until I knew he'd be out. Claire heard through a friend that Matt was staying in a hotel until the fallout blew over. Said he'd come back once he'd fixed it. I parked 2 blocks away. Hoodie, gloves, ball cap. I let myself in. The place was different. Cleaner. He'd cleared out most of my stuff already. But the office, the spare bedroom he used as a home office, was still locked with the same passcode, his birthday. Inside, it was like he forgot anyone might ever look. Stacks of papers. Property files. Hard drives. I didn't take anything right away. I just took photos. Pages and pages. And then I saw it, a folder labeled, Insurance, DD, Old. Inside was an old life insurance policy. My name was the beneficiary. It had been active for years, signed back when I moved in. The date on the last update? 3 months ago. He'd renewed it. Still had me listed. I don't know what he planned to do with it, but something about that felt off. Too careful. Too deliberate. Why keep me listed? Why keep a life policy active for a woman you claimed was just a habit? Suddenly, this didn't feel like just a breakup. It felt dangerous. I left quietly, called Chloe, and told her everything. She said, "You need to be careful. He's not just a liar, he's a thief. Maybe worse." I said, "Then we hit him hard. Not just emotionally. Legally. Financially." She agreed. And we started building a case. The last month of my life has been the most insane, painful, and freeing experience I've ever had. After I found that insurance policy, with my name still listed as the beneficiary, I knew Matt wasn't just a cheater. He was dangerous. No normal man keeps a life policy on an ex-girlfriend 3 months after getting engaged to someone else. Especially not one worth $500,000. It made me wonder if he'd ever thought about cashing in on it. I called Chloe the minute I left the condo. "We need a lawyer," I said. "Not later. Now." Her dad helped us get one, a bulldog type from Charlotte who specialized in white-collar crime and asset recovery. We met him in person 2 days later and laid it all out. The years of deception, the fake LLCs, the hidden money, the overlap in relationships, the possible fraud, and the life insurance. The lawyer listened. Took notes. Asked for everything, every message, every photo, every receipt, every legal document. I had stacks of old emails, tax records, and texts. Chloe had screenshots, photos, and property listings tied to Matt's name. By the end of the meeting, the lawyer said one thing: he's cooked. Turns out Matt wasn't just shady with love. He was shady with money, too. He had been skimming profits from house flips, underreporting sale values, setting up shell companies, then selling properties to himself at fake prices to dodge taxes. He had 2 small lawsuits pending from contractors he never paid. He also had a second life insurance policy with no named beneficiary. According to our lawyer, that's a red flag. He explained it like this: some guys keep policies open with no beneficiary just in case. If someone dies under suspicious circumstances and their next of kin, they collect. It's rare. But it happens. I felt sick to my stomach. Chloe's face went pale. "You think he'd try to hurt someone?" "I think," the lawyer said, "you're both lucky he's dumb and greedy, not just dangerous." We pressed charges. Chloe's dad backed the legal fees. The accountant helped trace the hidden transactions. I handed over every record I had from living with Matt. Bank statements, texts, his daily calendar, receipts, a hard drive he once asked me to hide for him during an audit. I didn't even know what was on it until the lawyer's tech guy cracked it open. Inside, spreadsheets of properties he'd laundered through his brother's name. Invoices never filed. Dozens of fake names tied to cash transactions. By the end of that week, our lawyer turned it all over to the state. Matt got arrested on June 29th. Fraud, tax evasion, and wire fraud. Just the start. They raided his condo, froze his accounts, and seized his business assets. The news made local headlines: real estate scam unfolds in wake of wedding scandal. I watched the news at Claire's house while eating frozen waffles and wearing an old hoodie. She paused it and looked at me. "You good?" I nodded. Getting there. A few weeks later, I got a letter from Matt. It wasn't an apology. It was a rant. He accused me of destroying his life. Said I ruined his future. Called me every name in the book. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. But I did keep the letter. Just in case. Chloe and I stayed in touch. We weren't friends, not really, but there was a respect between us. We'd been lied to by the same man. Hurt in different ways. But we didn't let him win. A month after the arrest, I got a notice from the insurance company. The policy in my name had been cancelled. The official reason: potential fraudulent intent under investigation. I cried when I read that. Not because I lost the money. But because it was finally over. He couldn't touch me anymore. It's been 4 months now. Matt's trial is scheduled for early next year. He's still in jail, denied bail. Chloe testified before the grand jury. I did too. His brother flipped on him to save himself. I found out Matt's real estate license was revoked. All his properties, gone. His reputation, gone. Chloe's dad sued him for fraud and damages. He won. Big. And the ring? Chloe pawned it and donated the money to a domestic violence shelter in Durham. Sent me the receipt in the mail with a note that said, "We both survived." Here's to the next chapter. As for me, I left teaching. For now. I'm working with Claire's catering company, managing events, helping her expand into Durham and Wake Forest. And I've started writing again, journaling, blogging, whatever helps. I moved out of Raleigh. Got a tiny place with a backyard in Pittsburgh. It's quiet. I like quiet now. No more waiting for someone to love me right. No more making myself smaller so someone else can feel bigger. No more building a future on lies. He tried to erase me. Instead, I erased him. And now I'm finally free.